Hey, what is up, you guys? What's going on? Welcome and also welcome back. So, if you're new here, the name is Perp the Mayor. Don't forget to look around. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe down below. Help us reach that 10,000 subscribers. So, if you're watching this, that means you've seen part one. Part one was only about, Shane getting ready before he goes to Tim Ten House, before he go to talk to Jake to see what's going on in his life. So part two is called The Dark Side of Jake Paul. That was that Darth Vader. Don't worry about it. So make sure you stay ready, stay focused, because it's a long video. So let's check this out together, guys. So this is The Dark Side of Jake Paul. Let's go.
Alright, welcome to part 2 of The Mind of Jake Paul. Now, today's episode, I sit down with therapist Katie Morton to talk about the psychology of Jake Paul. And we also talk about my issues and the fact that I probably need more therapy. So that's why I'm excited to once again say that today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. This is something I really think is great and something I actually really believe in. So BetterHelp is a service and an app where you can get affordable and private online counseling whenever you want. Like I've said before, going to a therapist office or sitting down with a counselor can be kind of intimidating and a little scary, which is why I love this, because you can just be on your phone, you don't have to go in anywhere, and you can just set up your appointment. You can message them when you want to talk. It's just really easy and it's great. So you'll fill out a questionnaire and then they'll match you to a counselor. And then you can get started getting counseling on your computer or your smartphone. That being said, if you're in a crisis or you're in danger, this is not the site to use. I will put all those links in the description as well. So if you want to check it out, I'll put the link right at the top of the description below. It's betterhelp.com/Shane. All right, enjoy part 2 of The Mind of Jake Paul. Good luck.
Let's go.
Tessa is asleep right now, and we are going to do the buried alive prank. The buried alive prank is where you go into someone's room while they're sleeping, you put a ton of blankets over them. It's like a lot of weight and like pressure, and they feel like they're in a coffin, and you play an ambulance noise, and then you start to talk like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay, she's gonna make it through it, she's gonna make it through it, and then they freak out. All right, so let's see what happens. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
That's not funny.
That was so scary! Jake!
You couldn't breathe?
No.
Makes it more real. Yeah, she was so scared. She was even like, are you mad at me? Don't be mad at me. You're alive. Okay.
Okay, our Uber is here. Where'd you go? Wish me luck. Okay, I love you.
Bye. Good luck. Find out if we're all psychopaths.
By the way, these guys should sponsor me. The best chips. Carry on.
Hey everybody, today I want to talk to you about the word psychopath. So stay tuned.
What do you think? I think that there's got to be some reason why somebody can be as, I don't know what the word is, outgoing, negatively outgoing as him.
I love you. I love you.
Whatever it is, probably runs in the family because his brother. Right. But Logan, I feel like, is more likable. Right? Like, not as many people hate him. Do you know who Jake Paul is? Yeah. No? Doing like a little documentary thing about whether or not he's a sociopath.
Oh yeah, I heard you talking about it, yeah.
Have you met any sociopaths?
I meet a lot of people, but I don't know if I met a sociopath.
Well,
How do you tell somebody's a sociopath? What are the symptoms?
Well, from what I've read, they're instantly likable, but they don't have real emotions, and everything they do is kind of an act, and they just want to manipulate people.
My wife. Yes, that's, I didn't know that. I thought it's the opposite. Somebody that's unlikable, not likable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her.
Follows me. Follow back? You don't follow? I guess it would make sense that you don't follow him. Why would you follow him? Oh, like I didn't need a giraffe. Weird.
What is wrong with you? I could have died.
I'm doing good, right? Do I keep on going?
Thank you so much. I was almost gonna say, like, is there anything that she could tell you that would make you not want to do this anymore? What do you mean? Like if she says, well, when it comes to this type of person, or when it comes to this disorder, you don't want to X, Y, Z. You even think about that? I mean, you don't really know much about him or this thing that you're claiming he might have, so it's like, if somebody tells you something about him, or if somebody tells you something about this potential disorder, maybe you might... Yeah, I mean, oh, I think that's your... Oh.
I don't know. We all know David's a psychopath.
This is a surprise to y'all.
Exactly.
I'm also not a sociopath.
Or have some type of personality disorder. It kind of led into a weird direction, which we'll get into later.
Let's do the thing.
Before we do that, sociopaths.
Yes.
You know, you came on my podcast, and you were very clued in. Like, you knew that I had struggled with an eating disorder.
I look in the mirror and I see a huge person.
What is body dysmorphic disorder, and how do we know if we have it?
You knew by even looking at me. You're very intuitive about all that. So that's why I wanted to talk to you about this, because I feel like if anybody could tell me what to look for, it would be you. Because I feel like, do you spot them?
You can feel them. I don't know if you can really spot them.
I hated that. Oh my god. Okay, what do you mean you can feel them?
It's like you said, roller coaster. That's a perfect way to set it up, because it's almost like when you're around people like this, it's if you sense what I sense, I guess, about them, it's like a pit in your stomach. Like it's that feeling, but just from them being around.
Ooh. Okay. So besides the feeling, what are the characteristics, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to it. A lot of it is just the main thing that people talk about is like they have no empathy. And I think that's a hard thing for people to actually fully understand, because most of us don't have this issue. So we feel for other people.
Yeah.
And we feel all day. I feel pissed off. I feel excited. I feel disappointed, whatever. They don't have any of that. For instance, the other day I was in my car and I'm driving, and there's this little old lady that started to get into the crosswalk, and I was like, honey, you got like 12 seconds. I'm worried. I hope people wait for you and like pay attention.
Right.
You know, a sociopath would just be like, ugh. Like it wouldn't worry. There's no worry for her. They don't have any empathy for the situation for her. They wouldn't, if someone kicked a dog and they saw it, they wouldn't feel anything for it. They just have no empathy. And I know I'm talking about like bad things, but also good things. Like they just don't, like imagine if you lived in a world in your brain where anything that happened to other people, you didn't really care about it at all. You didn't care how they felt. You didn't care what happened to them, as long as it didn't affect you.
The moments many feared would be their last.
Ooh. That is terrifying.
Yeah,
it is.
That's hence the that feeling. Like, ugh.
Is that a mental disorder? What is it?
Technically speaking, a lot of like clinicians like myself would call it antisocial personality disorder.
Hey everyone, it's Iris, and I am going to talk to you about antisocial personality disorder, which is my diagnosis.
So what are like the bullet points, for example, like in a book, what would it say?
Sociopaths believe that like the law doesn't apply to them and like the rules don't apply to them. They're like above it and they're so important to everybody else that like they'll get away with it. Like nobody will care.
Think you should know, while we were shooting the episode, I got arrested. Okay.
We're getting pulled over.
Oh my god.
He made me put my hands on the dashboard. Why? Am I threatening?
Did you have your ID, ma'am?
I have a warrant out for my arrest and he just pulled us over and let us all go.
So they always just think they're better, bigger, more important than everybody else. Like for instance, failure to conform to social norms with respect to lawful behavior. So they're usually like
getting into fights.
She ended up starting a full-on fight with Nikki.
Stealing.
After stealing a tube of lip gloss, Megan Fox went on a crime spree at her local Walmart.
And it could go as far as murder.
Simpson arrested for the murder of his wife Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman.
But then deceitfulness indicated by repeating lying, using aliases, conning others. So using anything they can to get their needs met. People aren't people, they're just tools to be used in their life for their game, whatever it is.
Okay. So like to a sociopath, the world is a chess game.
Yes.
And all the pieces are people.
And they don't care about them, there's no empathy for them. Remember that. They're just tools. Can I use that to help me get what I want? So, for instance, people who would have antisocial personality disorder would be extremely rude to any help.
The way they choose certain clips to kind of drive their points across. So, that's good. Good job, man. Good job.
People. So they tend to be like really quick and like angry and irritable and like push them off.
So like, for example, if it was a YouTuber, they would probably be rude to fans. No, because they want something.
They give them something, yeah. Because the main two things that they usually want is power and money.
And I'm gonna be the biggest entertainer on the planet.
I want to be the first social media billionaire.
So with fans comes power and money.
Buy that merch. Buy that merch.
So they'd probably be actually really nice to their fans.
I wouldn't doubt you doing it, man.
I'm going to. Spend $100, free shipping, y'all.
He's awesome.
But if a fan died or a fan was hurt, they wouldn't care.
Not really. But if it meant that they could make a video about it and get more views and get more fans.
Jake Paul, there's, I don't know how to say this, but like, we lost.
Huh? Isn't that creepy? It's so creepy. It's like, we're gonna have to take a shower after this.
Yeah.
Then they also are impulsive. So failure to plan ahead. They'll want to do things and then not do things on a whim. Which is what makes them a little dangerous. I always think impulsive is like a dangerous thing. For both them and the people around them, you know?
That sounds like someone we know. But, well, but they don't have emotions, so like they wouldn't cry.
They might if they thought it made them fit in or like get what they want, because they're deceitful.
Okay. So sociopaths, so they don't have emotions. Do they pretend to have emotions?
Yes, because they'll mimic to fit in to get what they want. You and I aren't going to respond well to someone just asking us for something. We'd have to feel emotionally involved in some way in order to do something that maybe we normally wouldn't do. So in order to get people to be the tools that they need, they'll mimic behavior that they know will elicit the response they want.
Okay. So they're pretending to laugh, they're pretending to cry. Are they just like kind of mimicking what they've seen in like movies?
Yeah, movies, other people around them. If they, like, let's say, for instance, we're talking about YouTube. So if they're watching a ton of YouTube videos and they would see how other people responded, they might even read the comments to see how people react to that kind of a video, and then they'd mimic that in order to let's say someone was super successful and they did story time videos, for instance, and I'm not calling anybody out, I'm just saying if they saw that someone was doing this and they're like, oh, they got so many views, and like the people in the comments really feel for them, and then maybe they'll buy more merch or whatever, right? Power, money. Then they'll be like, oh, I could do that too. I can mimic that.
Until I see you guys next time, stay gorgeous.
So they learn like what gets people ahead, what type of behaviors, what type of emotional responses get what they want.
Now, for example, like not to, I don't want to say this person's a sociopath because I don't know, but like Logan Paul, for example, the dead body thing was, bad.
Oh my God, he's hanging. Bro.
But to me, the weirdest part of it was when he was talking about it in the video and talking about suicide prevention. There was like a really loud, sad song playing the whole time. It was
Like I said earlier, suicide, mental illnesses, depression.
To me, it was like, oh, this is sad. I'll put a sad song. So, not saying he's a sociopath, but like that's something that a sociopath would do, right? Be like,
Totally.
oh.
Yeah, because that would be like mimicking behavior, but to think of like, because that would make it feel, it elicit the response maybe he's wanting.
Suicide is not the answer. Literally, guys, what I preach every day is being a maverick. Like, it's okay to be different. It's okay to be unique. In fact, I encourage you to do that. If you're not a part of the Low Gang, make sure to subscribe.
Again, not saying he's necessarily a sociopath, but like, that would be what sad music, I mean, we all know even on YouTube, and it'll say like sad, it like kind of tells you what the music is. Who'd pick it according to that.
That's crazy.
Wait.
If somebody didn't know like how to be emotionally, they would just go to the audio library and like literally click the emotion.
Just pick the emotion that they want people to feel.
Do they not know? Like, would they, if a YouTuber is a sociopath and they're making an apology video.
I first want to apologize to my brother.
So they just type in sad and they pick one?
I in no way meant to like hurt his feelings.
Would they not know what a sad song was?
They might know it just because of society. Think about like radio DJs will be like, oh, and here's a sad song about a lost lover. I mean, I don't know. So they probably learned, but I think what they don't have knowledge of is what it is to experience that emotion.
When a sociopath cries, do other people not feel anything? Because I've been around some people who have cried in front of me, and not like in a video or anything, just in real life, and I'm like, why do I not feel anything? I don't feel anything right now. Is that a sign?
So as you can see,
because you can't relate to whatever they're going through, so you can't really feel why they're crying. So that's just my 2 cents. Carry on.
I got a tear to come out.
Because if they're mimicking, they are honing their craft, kind of. So if they're not very good at it, they won't elicit the right response out of you.
Her fans are not having it.
Because they're not really that good at doing it.
Everyone says that the sociopath is such a great actor, but when we take pictures of people, they're caught off guard. They don't have time to put the mask on. So the eyes look dead, and they have this creepy, weird, fake smile, or their eyes will be dead, but then the mouth will do this.
It's just off. Something's off.
Okay. What's next?
We're only halfway through, okay?
Oh my gosh.
Irritability and aggressiveness is indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults.
As this is not the first time she's been caught on video throwing a shoe in a fight.
Like they'll fly off the handle.
Oh shit, okay.
Especially if someone tries to discredit them or put them down in some way, this will be like a knee-jerk response.
Bitch, she got her ass whooped by a fucking 13-year-old.
Like they'll want to fight people or they'll want to be aggressive. And I honestly believe that in females, this might be a little bit different, where it would be more of a manipulation component to hurt them emotionally. Or maybe like girls would like shout, scream, and like try to embarrass them in some way.
I'll get your ass deported!
Then next is reckless disregard for the safety of self or others. So they don't really care what happens to them, because again, like remember, they don't have any empathy, they don't have any feeling, they don't have feelings like we do in the same way, so they really don't care if something bad happens.
You do not care about what happens to you at all.
As his lawyer spoke to the press, Simpson goofed around, making faces like he didn't have a care in the world.
So like, okay, for example, if they were on a plane and everybody's feeling turbulence, it's like, oh, the plane's about to go down. They wouldn't even really care.
Not necessarily.
It's just like, oh, the game is over. Oh, that just gave the chills.
That the game is over.
They drive fast, probably. Like do drugs, drink, do things that harm their body because they don't care.
Yeah, because they don't care.
Tattoos.
Probably.
They put their friends in bad places, so that would be like...
Yeah, like think of YouTube, like if they were doing like challenges, they wouldn't care if it was like really dangerous for someone or like hurt someone.
But if we can get a trampoline and jump in the middle of traffic, that would be so fire. Let's do this.
Or like consider, not that we're saying like the Paul brothers are sociopaths at all, but like wasn't it Jake Paul that like lit a huge fire in his pool with like furniture and stuff? They could have burned the house down, or the people's home next door who could have been sleeping. Like for God's sake, they don't consider that.
A lot of people can fall into that category, putting their friends in harm without caring.
Yeah. Then we have consistent irresponsibility. They don't know what it's like to be responsible because they don't care about how that affects other people. Let's say they got kicked out of their house and that meant that all the people that live with them were kicked out too. They'd be like, whatever, I'll figure it out. Because they don't care about themselves.
Okay. Whoa.
And then this is like the worst. This is the final one. But this last one is lack of remorse. So like, let's say they're being reckless and people get hurt. They don't give any shits about it.
Okay, so for example, if the YouTuber, try not to be too on the nose with this, but like,
if somebody got hurt during a prank or during a
You got
video or doing something for them, they wouldn't care. They don't feel bad. Like TanaCon, for instance, with you felt such remorse. You were like, oh my God, people are outside. This is terrible. I feel terrible. I'm gonna find a way to reimburse people. Someone who fit this would be like, nah, whatever. Fuck them. That would be their whole mentality. They might even be like they bought tickets and they were taking a risk. Like they just try to like, they'd rationalize it. Like they would blame others because they try to rationalize it out to make it not their fault because they just don't really care.
Ooh, I'm feeling sick.
It's really gross. And it's just creepy. And the thing I think is hard for people who don't have this to understand is like it's hard for us to view life without emotion or without caring. And that's what they live in. That's their experience.
So they're like, it's kind of like a robotic state of living, right? So
yeah, they're kind of like a robot.
I saw an image.
That's a cute robot.
When I googled it, and it said that sociopath is like they're wearing a mask, and around certain people they use a different one. Like around you I'm going to be funny. Around you I'm going to be sad. Around you I'm going to be charming. Around you, but what's under the mask is the truth. Yeah. And that person is never seen.
No, right? I'd almost argue it like doesn't really exist because they don't really know who they are because their whole life is spent like manipulating others and mimicking behavior to fit in. So that's why there's different masks for different people, because you'll notice if you're around someone like this when they're giving you like the heebie-jeebies.
Daddy loves her, and Daddy's gonna give her anything she wants as long as she does what Daddy tells her.
They do a lot of like, I don't know how else to describe it other than just being like a data detective. They're trying to get as much information about you as possible. The thing about YouTube is we put it out there so they can find it by just watching, if we're being honest. So they're gonna be detectives, they're gonna scrounge, they're gonna get as much information as they can so they can create the right mask for you. So that they can manipulate to get what they want. Because people aren't people, they're tools.
If you wanted to segue into like a big picture about like YouTubers, because that's gotta say something about YouTubers and YouTube in general, because that, what you just described is like, that's like a playground for people like that, right? Or,
is that, that's like, YouTube is that. It is like their playground. If they have been watching YouTubers growing up, and now they're like, oh, I'm 18, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to use everything I learned. So do you think it is possible that a lot of YouTubers might be this?
They could be, or they could be narcissistic.
What's that? I mean, I know what it is, but not like the term.
Yeah, because narcissism is again, it's like born out of trauma usually, which kind of makes you feel bad for them a little bit, but like not that much, because they feel so fragile as a person that they put up like this wall that they're better than. They need a lot of attention. They want everybody to like them. They want to control everything and everybody else, so they tend to be really manipulative as well. So there is some overlap with this, but they do actually feel things. But they manipulate in the same way.
But they have a heart.
Yes.
Do sociopaths have a heart?
I don't believe so.
Whoa, okay. Wow. In my 10 years of YouTube, I've met a lot of YouTubers. I've definitely met a few where I've got that gut feeling.
We're talking about like that.
Yeah. And I've met a few that fit this, but I don't get that gut feeling. Are those people probably
better manipulators, or they know enough about you?
I literally My heart.
It's really gross, I know. So like then you might even be like friends with them because you don't know you're being manipulated.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay.
Trust.
How realistic is it that like what's like the statistic, I guess? Like how realistic is it for me to know one?
They say 1 in 25.
1 in 25.
I thought it was like 1 in 10,000 or something.
They make it seem like it's a really low percentage. It's a huge percentage of the population. It's the same as like schizophrenia or other mental illnesses that we know well and we see and we hear about. But even in school, they didn't really talk enough about this because it's icky. It's the dark side, essentially.
Why am I just learning?
Yeah, seriously.
This? Why is this something that nobody talks about? 1 in 25 is like a person in your class, or a person in my family for sure, or a person in my friend group, or like 100 people on YouTube or more.
Yeah, it's way more common. Once you kind of start paying attention to it, you can feel those people out.
So for people watching at home in their day-to-day life, what should they look for? Is it the person who's always happy? Is there like a mean characteristic? Because it's not like an evil-looking person, right?
No.
They're pretending to be nice.
Yeah, they're pretending, they're mimicking. I think in truth, it'd be someone who is really popular.
Simpson had an active social life and lots of friends.
And someone who always knows the right thing to say for some reason, no matter the situation. They're always really witty.
You know, I mean, I ordered a cake for myself. I'm not a monster.
I see. All right. So at least you had a cake.
Yeah, I'm not a sociopath.
Good. Yeah.
They're actually super intelligent, usually, because to manipulate takes a lot of intelligence. Imagine all the, like, detecting we have to do and, you know, searching for all those little bits about people that we can use to manipulate them. It takes a lot of effort. They probably have a lot of different relationships in their past. Like, they tend to bounce from friends to friends because as soon as people start to see a chink, if they're not very good at manipulating, they'll move on to another group. Like, adults move a lot. Not very far in a radius, but they'll move from like a city to another city so that the people who kind of figured out something was up aren't there anymore.
Do they have relationships?
Yeah, they do. They can even be married with kids. Whatever they think helps them fit in. Think about anything in life, owning a home, having a dog, getting married, having kids, whatever it may be. They're going to put up the best show that they can. And they're master manipulators. So they can manipulate people into thinking that they love them.
What, you punched her a number of times?
Yeah. I fell in love with that person.
You threatened to beat the blank out of her?
That's embarrassing.
When you got home, also said you warned you were going to kill her? You don't appear like a violent person at all. In fact, you appear rather calm, rather nice.
They'll do everything someone wants, whatever they think that, like, they'll learn so much about this person. Also, we talked about YouTube being their playground, so are online dating sites. Because they can find people that way and they can learn a lot about them in their profile. And then they'll do exactly what they want them. Like, they'll be their perfect, because they always ask, like, what would be your perfect mate? They'll become that perfect mate.
Because it doesn't matter either way to them, because they're not losing anything.
Because they don't have any empathy. They don't care. It's, people are tools. So if I need to get married or need to be in a relationship, how do I make that happen? And they'll want to move quick, too. They'll, like, get to know you, and then they'll want to be your best friend, or they'll want to start dating, or then they'll start asking you to marry them, or they'll want to move in. Like, everything moves pretty quickly. Not crazy quick, because they're manipulators, but, like, just enough that you're like, ugh, and your friends and family be like, that's really fast, and I don't know them very well. And they won't let you see much of their life either. Like, usually they're hesitant to let people over to their house, or in their bedrooms, or parts of their space that they can't, like, completely make look a certain way.
What am I? Because, like, I feel like I attract sociopaths.
Potentially, because you're so soft.
Yeah, like, I'm not calling out people. I'm not saying there's YouTubers who I've, like, done videos with or any of that. I just mean in my real life. Like,
yeah.
I feel like, but I also feel like I, like, get them and I want to help them and all of that.
Because you're empathic.
So an empath. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's essentially like we feel for other people. Like this is the opposite. An antisocial personality disorder or a sociopath would be your antithesis, like the complete opposite. So every time you think, oh, but like that must really suck for them, they would have none of that. That doesn't exist. They might even be like, something horrific happens, and they're like, what's for lunch? Like, let's move on. Because it has no energy, no feeling for them. But an empath is someone you might even like attract these people because you do feel so much. And in doing so, unfortunately, you offer up a lot of yourself. And so they're like, oh, I can use all of this to make this work for me.
But does that mean they don't even like me?
Possibly. I don't know if they know how to like people or love people.
See, here I go again. I'm like, that's so sad.
It is.
But
is sad.
Is it sad? Because they don't think it's sad.
It's sad for you because it would affect you. It doesn't affect them.
Because I just feel sad now. Because I'm like, okay, if it's 1 in 25 people, that's a lot. We all know one or multiple.
Yeah.
So then it's like that person is never going to experience like the joy of like having sex for the first time, or like getting your first car, or like going to an amusement. They don't like. That's sad. That's like a robot.
It is sad, but they don't know any different, and they don't really care. That's the thing. There's no empathy. It always goes back to that because it's like hard to be like, oh, that must be horrible for them. And I'm sure if someone has some of the signs and symptoms but isn't fully engulfed in it, they might be really bummed and like try to fix it. But the amount of people I'd assume that fall into that category are very slim to none, especially if we don't catch it early enough, because it only gets worse.
What would happen if they went to therapy?
Oh God, probably nothing, whatever they wanted to happen. Because they're manipulators. They're never going to tell me what's really going on or what they're worried about. They could potentially only get better at manipulating people. Because if they're given like more tools in therapy that we think are like being helpful, and you're actually, especially if it's like a couple, if you're sharing more about yourself, then you're giving them more information to utilize to manipulate you. I like to believe people can get better. That's why I do what I do, but I don't know if they can.
Could it get dangerous?
Definitely. Very much so. 15% of those in prison have antisocial personality disorder or are sociopaths.
Yeah, that was a quick reaction that she had.
So your only regret is that the torture didn't go on anymore.
Right, and I regret not killing my other victim. I should have killed him too. I just didn't have time. I had to go somewhere.
Will you kill again?
If the opportunity arises, I hope so. Okay, we're done.
Are you done?
Yeah.
All right.
Good shit, dude. That's gonna be crazy, isn't it? That's gonna be wicked. Make it look good, please.
I think best wishes to you and.
Right.
Okay, that leads me to my final question. YouTubers. Jake Paul.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know him. That's the thing, is like people put on shows to be on YouTube. Like, you know what I mean? Personas.
Yeah.
But going back to the symptoms and signs that we just read through, like not caring if people get hurt. He's done things to people, like terrorizing members of his like team, right?
Yeah.
Like the lack of emotion in his eyes and stuff is kind of creepy. But I'd have to, I don't know, is he? I mean, is he remorseful? Does he just pretend he's remorseful? We see like videos where he says he is, but is he? I don't know.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm so sorry to the Martinez twins.
I know he's definitely impulsive, but he's also like a younger guy, you know? But I'd have to get to know him better because like we think there's empathy, but is it a show? Is it manipulation? I'd like to hear what other people in his life have to say because they know him better.
Right.
It's definitely possible. Do you have to get a fuller picture of like how he is when the camera's not on and how like what his past girlfriends have to say? Because people who aren't in his life will have a lot better things to say than people who are, because people are technically being manipulated right now, if that's the case. And I don't know if he is either. Like, I don't know. I haven't met him either. And I'd have to meet him, and I'd have to get to know him a little bit more, and have to, you know what I mean, to get a full picture. Because it could be narcissism, it could be nothing. He could be totally fine and it's just a persona. We don't know.
Would you come with me?
Yeah, I'll go. Let's hope he's not scary.
I mean, is that, but do I not tell? How do I approach this? Do I say like, oh, I just want to sit and talk and whatever, and then I slowly get into the sociopathic stuff, or do I not even ask?
I don't think we ask. I think it's more, because we're kind of on like we're being detectives, we're trying to figure it out. So I think it's more of like, hey, a lot of people talk trash about you, because they do, and that's why I don't want to say he necessarily is, because I don't really know. But, you know, here's a way for us to sit down and talk and, you know, figure some stuff out. I think it's just kind of like a very open-ended, because we'll see where it leads us. And between the two of us, hopefully we can figure out if he's manipulative or if he's lying or telling the truth and stuff like that. I'm like trained at that pretty well, but like I'm still human.
Yeah.
The one thing about them that I think is really important to know too is that they're instantly likable. They're extremely charismatic. Their manipulation allows them to, they can woo your grandma. They can make kids like them. Everybody thinks they're the life of the party and the best person, because remember when I was saying like they know just exactly what to say at the right time? They're witty, they're quick-witted, they're usually really funny, and just overall charismatic, so everybody's gonna like them right away.
See, that gives me hope that he's not one. Because, like, not to drag him, but he's really not likable. I mean, people instantly, they hate that guy.
Yeah.
Very hateable, punchable, I'd say. Is that offensive? Sorry, but you know what I mean? Like, when somebody's like, I want to punch that guy, like, Jake Paul has that effect.
He elicits like a, it's almost like Jeffrey. That people love to hate him.
Jeffree Star, same thing.
Go kill yourself.
Well, so I feel like that almost...
That negates it.
Kind of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were to say a certain celebrity who was a sociopath, ooh, could I get in trouble? But like, because we don't know. But like, it would be somebody instantly likable, like...
Yeah, I don't know. I hate to like drag somebody because they could be they're super nice. That's why people like them. But I'm not calling anybody out. But let's say like an Ellen, she's super nice. Everybody loves her, and like that would be. And I don't think she is. But I'm just saying that like that's the type of person we're talking about. Is like that super personality. Everybody likes them. They don't really know why.
Did you happen to see the Logan Paul Casey Neistat interview?
Yes.
What did you think?
I mean, it was a little creepy, and he didn't really answer the questions, which I found interesting.
Yeah.
And it was kind of narcissistic. It was all about him and like how it affected him.
It's the most viewed anti-suicide PSA ever.
The one thing that was interesting that relates to like sociopathic behavior is like instead of accepting, like you and I, if something happened, like even the Tanacon thing, you're like, oh my god, this is terrible, I feel terrible. Any normal person would be like, I am so sorry, and like earnestly, you are sorry, that is horrible, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. A sociopath will in turn say that it was so hard for me, you have no idea. They'll cry, this is all the money I lost and all the things that happened, and so that you feel bad for them. They want to turn it around on the situation on its head, so that then you're like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, and you'll leave every conversation feeling like it was worse for them and you feel bad for them, you know, or you'll view them in a positive light. You're like, man, that must have been so hard for them, they're such a nice person. Like they'll just completely turn it around.
Maybe I'm being cynical, but there's a little whiff of it sounding like you see yourself in some capacity as a victim. No!
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
Logan is likable. So likable.
And super charismatic.
But Logan, I feel like, is more likable. Right? Like, not as many people hate him.
He's always seen as like the good brother and stuff, you know? Which is weird. I would say growing up with that brother, imagine what that was like.
Yeah, like everybody loves Logan, loves Logan, loves Logan.
He gets away with everything.
Gets away with everything because he's so nice and fun and charming. And Jake is, that probably could even make, even if Logan's not a sociopath, that could just make Jake even more like angry, rebellious, like whatever.
Oh,
having
totally.
like
anything to get attention too, maybe.
Accept me, love me.
Might be like why.
And that's why they feud so much. Not to get too deep, but like maybe Logan's feud with Jake is more like, well, I don't really care that much. Like it's just money and I'm getting views. And Jake might actually be personally like,
might actually be mad
at his brother.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jake said, quote, I try to be just like him. It's so easy to get sucked into trying to be someone else, and that's what happened most of my life with my brother.
Wow. We'd have to get to know them more. Because I don't know. Antisocial personality disorder is more common among first-degree biological relatives. So they're more predisposed than the general population. So we're talking about that 1 in 25. If you have someone in your family who has antisocial personality disorder, you're much more likely.
You said something about like a traumatic event. Like, if a kid has a traumatic event happen, are they more likely to become a sociopath later?
I think they're more predisposed for a lot of things. Like trauma messes with us in so many various ways. Traumas happen all the time. Let's say you were raised in a household where you were physically abused from like the ages of 3 to 12. Essentially what trauma does, if it's done at a young age, is it like doesn't allow us the time to feel safe or to feel like we're actually cared for. It instills fear when we don't really have any place, we don't know where to go with that, we don't have any way to use it, we don't know any coping skills yet. How do we deal with that feeling? The one thing we can do for children, honestly, to like stop perpetuating the cycles that we all have done is like letting them know that how they feel is okay and it's valid. We might not agree, but that doesn't mean that they don't still have that feeling. And if we teach children how to communicate about how they feel, I honestly think that a lot of the ailments and issues we struggle with mentally, as well as physically, could be resolved.
I think that is like, when I was a kid, you know, my mom was going through a lot. And I felt like I had to be strong because she was like having trouble. So it was always like, oh, Shane's my rock. He's my support system. Oh, he's always strong. So I like...
for other people in your life now, too? Are you like a fixer?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were like a parentified child, so you've been like an adult since you were whatever age.
Yeah. And I think now I'm just at the point where I'm like, I like stay up all night and I'm just lost. And I'm just like, oh, which is why I started falling down the holes of like sociopaths and this and that. Because I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I so lost? If I can help all these people, why can't I help myself? Why am I still depressed? Why am I all these things? I look at my channel and I'm like, oh, the more I'm helping people, the worse I'm getting. And this experience with Jake and this sociopath, all this stuff, this very much feels like the breaking point of like, maybe it'll be good to realize I can't help him.
Maybe.
And maybe I should just literally go to therapy myself.
Definitely.
Instead of trying to give therapy to YouTubers like I've been doing.
There is hope. Don't worry.
Yeah, I might have to do a series just about you fixing me. Maybe that is the series, jeez. Like an actual therapist fixing me. Cause like, yeah, that wow.
How long
That'll
is
be
the series?
500 parts.
I'm just teasing.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go outside and second guess every single person I meet.
I'm so sorry. It's not that many. I mean, it's quite a few.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. I'm spiraling. This has become more than just a Jake Paul series at this point, right? This is like, what she described is so many people I know, and so many people I've met, and worked with, and been friends with, and been in relationships with, and anybody could be a sociopath. Anybody. Like, there's a bar right there. Like, if we walk into that bar, there's probably, what, 100 people? So that means there's 4?
Why isn't that like a thing that's like talked about? It's so weird.
Because the people in charge might be that.
That's true.
Think about it this way. If your teacher's a sociopath, why would she teach you about it? She doesn't want you to know her tricks. I just got the chills. Or like the president. Everybody thinks Donald Trump is a sociopath. So what if every president's a sociopath? Kinda would make sense, right? I heard Steve Jobs was
I did hear about that. I guess I never really thought about what that even meant. I just hear that word and I go, oh, that's different.
Literally all I know is I'm not a sociopath, you're not a sociopath, and like that's it. I'm like this girl, she could be a sociopath. Look at her, she's smiling. Look at her. Are you a sociopath?
No. I'm out catching birds, you know, those scooters.
That's what a sociopath is. 2 questions. Number 1, do you think Jake Paul is a sociopath?
Absolutely.
Do you think you know any sociopaths in your real life?
I do not.
What if I told you that 1 in 25 people is a sociopath?
Then I would be questioning my friends.
Same. Wanted a picture?
You are so beautiful. I just want to cut your skin off and wear it.
contestant number 3, step on up.
I don't want to like, I don't want to get involved in family drama.
So I was hoping that part 2 was going to be the interview with Jake Paul and stuff like that. So I'm guessing there's gonna be more. Part 3, part 4, and 5 maybe. So guys, all right, it's a bunch of it's a lot of heavy stuff. So do you know any sociopaths in your in your circle, in your area? Who do you know? Well, I don't know anybody really. I don't think I do. Then, anyways, guys. So what did you think about this video? Part 2 gives me chills the whole way. So I really hope you enjoyed this. If you did, let me know down below. Come back for part 3. I'm definitely gonna check part 3 out. Make sure you subscribe. Always come back for more. I'll see you when I see you. Peace.